just gonna share this link and we can get started. There's a few things that I want to try. I'm getting this set up on a new computer. So in the past, I've used a Linux desktop that I have for streaming, and since then I've gotten a MacBook Pro, which I'm doing most of my development on right now. And also it has like a really good camera and mic in it, so it's just a little easier to set up. Something else that I wanted to test since I streamed last is I discovered some nice resources for like royalty-free music. And you know, rather than me talking the whole time, especially tonight, I want to just put on some music and kind of chill and work on stuff. So I'm gonna get that started and then break away to listen on a different device and make sure that things are working good. So this is going to be a little bit of a test. So I'm going to get that started and then we'll jump in. Let's see here. So let's see, and if I pause it, will it stop? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna, and that's set to about half volume, so I want to just let that play a little bit and see how the sound balances while I'm talking. I'll just talk a little bit while that's playing, and then I'll jump over to my phone and just give it a listen, make sure that things sound reasonable. Let me skip ahead a little bit, see if there's something a little bit more intense. This is going to be a nice playlist. Yeah. Cool, and I think if I adjust, let me just look at this here while this is playing. If I adjust my sound level on the Mac, yeah, that doesn't change the screen capture sound level at all, so I can set that where I want. Okay, thanks for bearing with me. I'm gonna quick listen to how this sounds and then we can get started. Alright, so I think it's probably the volume level's a little bit loud compared to the microphone, so I'm going to bring it down. and we'll get started. So, um, yeah, so lately I've been trying to get back into working on um, some things. So I have this ongoing project where I'm doing programmatic 3D modeling towards the goal of a couple things. So a game, as well as um, more high detailed stuff like trailers and other cool pieces of visual art. So I'll just share some stuff here that I've recently shared on Twitter. So there's this thing going on right now called Spaceship Timber. Let me just move my comment section over here, and I want this to be very low quality so I'm not fighting myself. Where people share their cool space and spaceship art, and I've done a couple of things for that. So they have like different prompts for different days. So day one was a fighter ship. So I actually all in one day I designed this ship. Actually, I'm gonna grab my sketchbook here. I designed this little ship and modeled it with my tools, and actually got it into my game. Which there's a couple different steps there. There's the modeling of it, and then there's some additional steps to actually sort of describe what the different components are and the functions that they have and get them into the game. So here is the initial little sketch I did. I think it was Friday morning for the ship, and then the result. So the game is kind of a retro, low poly aesthetic. It was really inspired by games like MechWarrior 2 and TIE Fighter, so it's kind of what this work is based on. But the other aspect of what I'm doing is that the idea is that these models should kind of be able to serve multiple purposes for my project. So I write sci-fi horror. I have different projects and pursuits kind of related to my fictional world that I have there. So if I can make, like, when I make a ship, if I can let it do different things. It could be a ship in the game. It could be used for a cool image that I share on Twitter. It could be something that I add a lot of like detail with to programmatically, and then use in more like more high resolution, or more hopefully closer to TV or movie quality cinematics. That's kind of the idea. So what I'm working on right now is, and I can also show a little bit of this, is a space station. And actually, I think it's in my highlights. Would be the easiest way to find it. So my new project that I'm working on, just kind of the story of the game, and a story that I'm planning on writing either a novella or a novel for, is about a guy who is going to inherit this space station from his parents who have run it. And he wouldn't be the sole inheritor, but it's been in his family for generations. And I've been thinking about this station for a long time. I started with a sketch that got a lot of likes on Twitter. It's kind of fun to see that. And then I started sketching it out in my software and in Blender. So this is kind of the first sort of low detail pass, and then I've been adding a lot of like higher detail parts to it. So this is the top with some kind of windows and like these piers that ships will dock on, with little docking rings and and greebling and stuff. This moon is also kind of towards this because the space station is it's orbiting the moon. It's kind of like a rest stop or gas station or mechanic kind of place for mainly well, not mainly, but wealthy people who are visiting the moon and other kind of related groups. So freighters and cargo ships and the different modes of transport that people who are going mainly between the Earth and Moon, and then like from the Moon to elsewhere in the solar system, where they would stop. So the space station is eventually going to go in the game too. I don't think I'm going to work on that tonight, but that's something that I'll be working on soon. And I needed a nice moon for the game, so that's what this vertex shaded low poly moon was towards. So yeah, so what I've been working on lately is some specific details for the space station. Specifically, there's going to be a comm array, bunch of antennas and different things on top of the station. So I've been creating some of that. I've got a really good start on it, and hoping to integrate or finish some of that stuff up and integrate it with space station. Just kind of take a look at it in Blender, maybe make some different tweaks. So I'm going to jump in on that. And this is going to be a pretty chill stream. In the past, I've tried to talk a lot about what I'm doing. I'm probably not going to do that so much tonight just because it's kind of late and I don't really feel like talking too much, but and I've got some music going, so we'll just see where it goes. If anybody is watching, I'm definitely happy to answer questions for anybody that's in the chat about what I'm doing. The focus here for me though is going to be getting stuff done, so I'm not going to like talk and explain everything necessarily tonight. We'll just see how it goes. This is kind of an experiment. I've had more focused sessions in the past, but I'm just kind of experimenting with something different. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to be working on some kind of parabolic, big dish-shaped antennas. I've got one, and I'll be kind of like maybe trying to make a group of them and add them to the comm array on the top of the station. So I'm just going to check Twitter, and then we'll get started on that. So, and then just a little bit about how I'm going about doing this. So I'm doing this work in Python. I use PyCharm as my IDE, and this code is all very cross-platform, so it'll work on Mac, Windows, whatever. I did a lot of work on Linux on this, but now I'm working on my MacBook just for ease of streaming here, and you'll see as I'm working on this, there's code that I'm running and editing to create the different pieces, visualizing it with some tools that can just view 3D objects. They're a little bit buggy on macOS, unfortunately, so I might run into some issues with that. But you'll also see things just open up in Blender. So I've developed this kind of very capable set of tools by which I can create these 3D models in Python and then quickly interact with them in Blender. And I have my own formats for doing all this stuff just because I kind of enjoy building stuff like that, rather than learning somebody else's file format or whatever. It's fun to sort of build your own and think about the pieces that you need and then add on to it and add features as you need them. So basically just building collections of 3D meshes. I have some data structures which represent hierarchies of 3D meshes and how they relate to each other, and then we're going to view those and interact with them in Blender. But most of the design of this stuff is going to be happening in Python code rather than like moving things around in Blender, because that's the way I want to work. So let's get started. try to make things big so people can see. Workbench script that I have that just kind of can run whatever stuff I'm running. Let's see here. Might have to share different screen. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm doing is going to pop up on the other screen, unfortunately. Let me see if I can make this monitor my default screen. That might fix some of that. Let's see here. Yeah. So this we can use as the main display. All right. There we go. Oh, come on. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Might have to quit and restart some of this stuff too, because it looks like it's confused by the DPI, so let's try that. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit of an experiment because this is the first time that I've done a lot of streaming here on the MacBook. But it's kind of what I've been using day to day. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, looks like PyGL is a little bit confused by this. All right, I'm going to quick set up the MacBook display as the main display, and we'll solve the PyGL issue later. Let's see here. I'm gonna briefly stop streaming and come back. I'm not sure if that'll stop the stream, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop. Well, actually, wait. I think this will work. No, let's see here. Okay, I think I'm back. I think I'm back now. So, yeah, we'll try this. We'll try this. So I just had to kind of resize some windows, and I could have done it without stopping the stream, but I don't think we really lost anything. Cool. Okay, so yeah, let's pick this back up. I'm going to get my music going again. Whoops. We'll skip ahead a little bit here. Cool. All right, and actually this works better because I have more room on my second monitor to put up like Twitter and OBS and stuff. So that actually works. That actually works just fine. Cool. And I've got this. All right, cool. Sweet. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. We'll have something more polished next time. Okay, so here we go. Oh yeah, now I have to I have to change my primary monitor back. Let's see here. Display. There we go. Right, and that's gonna work. It's gonna work just fine. Okay, yeah, so these are just some of the different pieces of the dish. This is the main comm array assembly with a couple of things that look like kind of like cell towers here. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to try to put the dishes like right here. And actually, so this is like red, green, and blue is X, Y, and Z. So I'm actually I kind of want the dishes to set sort of in front of the comm arrays. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to have to move those to the back side. So let's take a look at doing that. So I have a function here that does the comm array, and let's actually start cleaning some of this up a little bit. Here's my to-do for the dishes. So let's see here. Yeah, instead of this being 5, cool, this to be -5. And then here's my function for the dish, and let's start getting rid of some of these debug things, because I think things are pretty much working here. Yeah. Okay. So can type, I swear. Okay, so that should add 1 dish. And before we add it, let's just get set the transformation to something reasonable. See here. And I had these towers at so it's gonna be something like have a hard time visualizing what these positions look like with code, so sometimes you just have to type it out and see what it actually looks like. Let's just double check what we have going on here in the bench. Yeah, we don't need this anymore. And we've got a few parts here, so that should be good. Let's clean some of this stuff up. Yeah, and then we have to add the offset for the top and also rotate it because we have Y. Yeah. The biggest trick with a lot of this stuff is kind of keeping track of what what coordinate systems things are supposed to be in, but that's actually just about the size that I was imagining it, so that's good. Okay. Oh, flipped the wrong way. Yeah, there we go. So this is kind of what I was picturing. So what I want to do now is I want to do a second dish. And then eventually maybe a third one. I'm picturing a couple of dishes of like different sizes. Just have a nice little cluster of dishes here at the bottom. And then once we have that going, we'll take this into Blender and I'll kind of place the spots where I want those the antennas and dishes to go. And then we'll take those values back into the program. So, okay, so we want to now parameterize the size of the dish here. Here for this, so have a unique prefix here, so make that. Want a rotation here too that will come after the flipping, so we can just have this be an identity for now, which I should add to my constants. That's kind of unfortunate that I don't have it, but that's fine, that's easy. And we'll apply that guy here. Set parents here too. Let's see what this does. I never appended it. Oh. These are all functional. There we go. And there it is. That's not a bad position for it, I guess. Probably should be a little bit further. Along the x-axis. So something like this. Now let's add another one. So let's do, and this is the beauty of programmatic approach. Let's add another one. I think I'm going to have to parameterize the, yeah, this has to be rotated. They're both going to have to be rotated a little bit. Gonna have to parameterize the base height, I think. Oh, yeah, not Z. It's gonna have to be Y. Oops. Either way. That looks right. We can pull out the focus depth on this one a little bit. Whoops. Yeah, and let's add a third one. We'll add a third one that's the same size as the smaller one. And then we'll go into Blender to experiment with how to arrange them. And this one is gonna have to be, I don't know where to put it. Alright, let's just take this into Blender to figure out where these things should go. So check this out. So instead of viewing these parts with this, we're going to use a module that I wrote where we can look at this interactively in Blender. So and it's just a joy to use Blender because of how fast everything starts up. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so let's take a look down from the top. Let's turn X-ray on. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I also need to add an offset for the thickness of the top because I'm coming up to there. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I need to, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that quick before I forget about it. See here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make this a constant. Bring this guy out. See if this looks better. Yeah. Yep, see now things are setting right on their base. So let's figure out where these guys should go. Yeah, and we can select the parts really nice like this. So, and this is now where we can be a little bit artistic. So let's see here. Something that I want to do too is figure out how I want those bases oriented too. But let's not worry about that right away. Let's just get them kind of roughly in the right spot. And we can just rotate the whole thing here. I'm sorry I don't have Blender, the Blender hotkeys installed right now. that used to be built into Blender, but they took it out for some reason. Okay, now this guy. Ideally, I'd like him facing forward. Yeah. Let's see if there's a way to do that. Oops. These might not fit. But I can also see, yeah, kind of doesn't look like they're gonna fit. I like the position of this one though. Could be up a little bit higher and maybe aimed a little bit further down. It doesn't really make sense for this one to be behind like this. And actually, let's just do something else too that'll make this a little easier. We'll do this. Yeah, now this is easier to work with. Yeah, so let me see here. If this was further up, does that gain us anything? I think this one, if it was smaller, would make sense. Because it could kind of be looking out from underneath here. All right. So let's take these positions backwards, or back into the program. And CreateSpain is asking whether the dishes point towards the local planet or outward to some kind of space lane. I'm not sure. I think the idea with these dishes is they might be pointed at other nearby space stations. I'm thinking a little bit more artistically right now than than anything, more than anything. But it's a good question. These bigger towers have like these kind of cell antenna type structures that are pointed in a lot of different directions, so they're supposed to be like a more general coverage kind of thing. I think the idea with these dishes is they're more like, you know, like internet connections to other space stations, something like that. So, okay. So, I'm gonna just quick copy these values, some of these values back. So, we want, let's see, 0 to be at 3.6. 1 at 0.1. So to be at negative. Just copying out these angles here. This is almost exactly 90 degrees. Or yeah, positive 90 degrees. And this one, I have a feeling that this is going to end up not being right, and I'm going to have to tweak these again without making that other rotation, but that's okay. Just because I'm feeling lazy. Okay, and got to figure out the offset here. So this is raised up, let's see here, 24 to 21, about 5 extra meters. So something like this. All right, let's see how this looks. Ha, not too bad. Except I got the wrong one that's raised up. So that's the big one that needs to be raised up. And we'll parameterize the height of that base that it sets on here in just a second. First, we'll make that first one smaller. Isn't it great how fast Blender starts up? It just makes me so happy. Yeah, so this one will make a smaller radius. Let's just see if that's right before I mess with it too much. Yeah, and then if we rotate this a little bit more, that'll be almost exactly what we want. Something like this. Actually, let's just move it a little bit. See how that looks. Oh, that looks great. That looks great. Okay, so let's see here. So we want 33 degrees here, and then 0.1, 4.2. Right. And before I start it up again, we'll parameterize that height. So let's see here. So we want base height here, which is currently a constant where it's 2, so we'll make these two 2, and this one will make 7 because that gets rid of that 5. And so now here we'll put in this parameter and that. So let's see if that does the trick. Whoops. Oh, height. Stem. Base height. And stem. Base height. Space height. Beautiful. I'm not the craziest about this base right at the moment, but I think it looks good enough. And I don't want to mess with it too much more. I kind of like the look of these bases just aligning with the I'm wondering if there's yeah, I think that's fine for now. I don't want to get too hung up on the details of this right now. Let's add a little shading to those, smooth shading to those dishes. That's nice. And I think we actually want to dial up these subdivisions a bit because it's pretty obvious. I think even from a ways out. So gonna make this into a constant. Whoops. And I'm just gonna clean up some of these constants quick because they're starting to make me nervous floating around. Just cleaning up imports here a little bit. Okay, another thing I'm going to do just quick is I recently added some nice functionality. Well, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I have some new functionality for that could add some extra details to some of this stuff. But I don't want to do that right now. I want to see how this looks on top of the station. So let's add it. And that should do that. So now in bench, let's return to looking at the whole station. So let's see here. This is copyright debugging. Let's clean some of this stuff up. This is experimentation from the other day. Not sure what happened there. Broke something in refactor, I think. Hopefully that's doesn't end up being a big deal. Oh wow. Huh. Let me just check what's going on here. Yeah, I think I know what happened here. try, I'm going to get some different music going here too. Something a little bit more intense. Yeah, I think what happened is I renamed this, and at one point I had maybe I just didn't check it in or something. Huh, that's funny. Because this definitely is not this function. Yeah, okay. Some simple mistakes there. Whew. Ooh, why am I calling this function? Oh. Is that there? Wow. I think this was something else that I renamed. Like... from rib. Yeah, it's just solid from rib triangulate. Let's see, so 5. I think that's the only place I was using it. That's kind of a different one. There we go. And of course the comma ray is nowhere to be found. I wonder what happened to it. Let's see if we can find out. All right, let's see. Let's just take a look at the upper by itself. Oh yeah, there's the problem. Jeez. Didn't add it, actually add it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, what I'd like to do too is basically have the same kind of array at the bottom of the station too. And eventually I will make a different one. But for now, I will just use the same one. Oh, and that is, yeah, that definitely needs to be up higher. So what happened there? Oh, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I need to add half of the support height too. Divided by 2. It's always a challenge of what coordinate systems you want things in. Doesn't really matter too much because you can always change it later. So it probably makes the most sense to use things that, you know, are easy to think about when you're building. And let's just go ahead and add this to the bottom part too. As long as we're at it. So we'll actually move this thing out to here. Don't have any more detail on the bottom. Don't have another segment, so I'll just pair it right to the core of the station. And we've also got to flip it upside down on the bottom. So let's read the translation, and I think it's going to be a negative 90-degree rotation. We'll see. let's see here. Almost right. So it actually needs to be 180 degrees. And this needs to be minus. And eventually I'll parameterize things out and we'll have a couple of, yeah, slightly different arrays on each end. But that looks pretty sweet. And let's see here. Yeah, these are kind of, the dishes are sort of past the tanks. So they kind of make sense. Good. All right. Yeah, I mean that's looking more or less like I hoped it would. Just for kicks and giggles here, let's see what this looks like rendered. I don't have any nice, there's no not like nice materials or anything on here, but it's still kind of cool to see what stuff looks like. With a nice let's see. Hopefully this doesn't crash the stream. Not a big deal if it does, because we're pretty close to done, but we'll take a look at this. And we'll set the small for starters. And we'll set our sun to something like 10. This is kind of where you start seeing whether your design was any good. Yeah, I like how that looks. Let's make the world background black here. Yeah, that looks pretty sweet. Oh yeah, that's right. Another thing I was gonna do was increase the number of subdivisions. Let's do that quick. And again, this is the great thing about programmatic workflow is when you want to change something, you just change it, and a few seconds later you've got the change. Oh, that looks sick. And I did... Oh. Wrong parameter. Red. Cool. Well, that is kind of the main thing that I wanted to get done tonight. It's getting kind of late, so I think I'm gonna hop off. Thanks for watching, and thanks for bearing with me as I kind of figure out how to stream from my Mac. Probably do this more often just as a way to kind of motivate myself to make good use of the time that I have to spend on my project. And I think I'll be getting into some interesting stuff soon that might make for more interesting streams. I know like game dev is kind of fun because there's some interactive testing of things, and one of the things that's kind of on my immediate backlog is getting the station into the game. So that's probably something I'll be working on hopefully in the next week or two. But thanks for watching, and see you later.